Welcome to Islamic Life Coach School podcast. Apply tools that you learn in this podcast and your life will be unrecognizably successful. Now your host, Dr. Kamal Akhtar.
Hello, everyone. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. This podcast is a labor of love. I put in a lot of effort in it. Inshallah, you're finding benefit in it as I intend. First of all, this is for my own growth and also so that I can leave a legacy for my kids. My intention is, inshallah, my message, either through this podcast or through other means, lives beyond my years. And one day my kids can find this message and know that their mom worked to leave this world a better place than she found it, and that it inspires them to do the same, inshallah. And alhamdulillah, I'm always finding myself making du'as like this. I believe du'as are extremely powerful. So whenever I find myself aligned in peace and tapped into my powerful emotions, I make dua. After much work, that has become reflexive at this point. Now notice I said that with work, dua becomes reflexive. It wasn't always the case. There was a time when complaining was reflexive for me. How do you go from default reflexes to intentional actions? Because that's a powerful place to be. And that's all through practice, self-improvement. And intentional actions and conscious thinking is a powerful place to be. Which brings me to the topic of power, which is what I wanted to talk about today. How to create a powerful life. As Muslim women, we have a responsibility to create a future that is beyond what we seem we're capable of right now. For that, a woman has to be powerful. She has to be able to create a powerful life. Often when we think of power, we think of external sources. The image that comes to mind with the word power is synonymous with force. This creates a very negative reputation of power. It might make you feel like you need to be against those who hold power, or we would never want power for ourselves. But what I'm going to present to you today is that power has to do from something from within. Real, true power comes from within you. It's about doing internal work that generates power and not trying to generate it externally, which is what leads to exhaustion and burnout. When I say the word power, the definition that we're mostly exposed to has to do with the social standing, status, income, authority, position, class, or prominence. For my visual learners, I'm going to paint an image. An external source of power means imagine yourself as you existing in your element in the world. Now take a bird's eye view of yourself, such as that you're looking at yourself directly from on top of you. You can see your head, your shoulders, and your toes, or whatever that vision looks like when you're looking at yourself from the top. Once you do that, imagine these definitions of power. First is prominence. That has to do with social standing. That is an outside force in. Imagine prominence being a source of power that's a pointer or an arrow pointing towards you. Each pointer represents power. Authority is another power, entity from outside. That is how other people perceive you, which is another pointer directing towards you. All of these pointers represent a source of power from outside coming in. Another source is income, how much other people are willing to pay you. That's another arrow towards you, feeding you power. Another one is control over others. This is another perceived level of power. That's when they behave like we want them to behave, and then we feel powerful over them. Their behavior becomes the metric of power. Another arrow pointing towards you, fueling you power from outside source. This is how we think of power. And this happens to be wrong. This outside inflow of power is wrong. Now, scratch all of that. Imagine yourself in another picture. You still in a bird's eye view, this time pointers pointing outwards. You are the source of power. You have that power placed within you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You innately hold that power just by the factor of existence. And you cultivate that power by trusting yourself more. The more you trust yourself, the more powerful you'll feel. That's one arrow pointing outwards for self-trust, a source of internal power. Another arrow is your ability to make strong decisions, another source of internal power. Then another emotion is consciously creating the emotions of abundance, like gratitude, love, respect. All of these are more and more arrows pointing outwards in all directions. You create these emotions within you from the main powerhouse of your mind. Another major source of internal power is when you love yourself unconditionally. This is how you generate a tremendous amount of power. This way, we are not at the mercy of other people's opinions or negative energy. We can choose how we respond to the world and create the life we want for ourselves. All of these are sources of power from inside out. So then, to create a powerful life, you have to think of power from being within you. I believe that the more powerful we become in our lives by finding that internal control, the more powerful effect we will create on the world. This is something that my clients and I work on diligently through coaching. The difference is in believing that the power is out there somewhere and I must get it, and this belief leads to desperation, neediness, and a power-hungry mentality, disconnection from the divine, and ultimately it exhausts our souls and our bodies. On the flip side, when you're able to generate power from within, you connect to your soul, which is a direct connection with the divine. As Muslim women, we get to find that internal control, and we get to harness that power from within. It's about understanding that we have access to source of our power, and that it was placed within us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it always stays within us. We just sometimes forget it. By doing this, we can impact and change the world for the better. So striving for that internal power and not rely on external sources to generate it. That's how we find true peace. Many people out there are eager to make a difference in the world, including myself. People that are ambitious, hardworking, and go-getters. And I was one of those people who was desperately wanting to change the world. But we were thinking of the source of power that comes from outside. That way, they're always trying to create change outwardly so they can feel powerful. They're always learning, they're always seeking. But when you shift that perspective that the power is within you, and then you reach out for your goals from ambition and hard work energy, then it does not exhaust you, it elevates you. Because all the power you'll ever need is within you. Trust me. This power comes from managing your emotions and making conscious decisions. A very interesting dynamic that I saw within my own life is that once I harnessed power, I became a target of attack from those who perceived me as powerful. And that will happen to you too. Humans are attracted to power. They want it for themselves. So if they don't know how to harness it from within themselves, they will try to steal it from you. Or they will try and attack you, thinking that this will somehow diminish you. But it's really just foolish of them because it doesn't work that way. Because you can use these attacks and completely discredit them because you believe in your own power. Your power being granted to you by Allah cannot be stolen. It cannot be attacked. It cannot be diminished unless you yourself don't know how to protect it and replenish it. Power is not about forcefully controlling others. It's about uplifting yourself and uplifting others. And this practice starts with your own self-awareness and conscious decision-making. I know firsthand how difficult it is to be shy and to struggle with assertiveness. And this leads to you taking on more than you can handle. But when you create your own power, you will set respectful boundaries. As a physician, a businesswoman, and a life coach, I have seen the incredible impact that self-trust had on my life and on the people around me. Because when I started to trust myself, I became more confident in myself and my abilities to make further decisions. And the same is available to you. When you stop seeking validation from others and start making choices based on your own values and beliefs, you become empowered to create the life you want. You become assertive, and people start to honor you for someone who stands up for herself. The power you need to succeed doesn't come from external sources, but from within you. When we tap that power, we can create value, we can help, we can heal others, and in doing so, we regenerate our own strength. It's like a self-charging battery. But here's one caveat. Trusting yourself is easier said than done. It requires constant deliberate practice. I do this for a living, for myself, and I help others, and I still frequently fall off the wagon, but I just keep acknowledging and improving. But the decision to start trusting yourself is made in a second. You make a decision in a moment, and you keep renewing it from that moment forward. And for everyone listening, I want that moment for you to be during this podcast. Trusting yourself starts with making a promise to yourself right now. And it can sound like any of these variations. From now on, I'm starting to trust myself more. I'm starting to honor my decisions. I'm becoming more confident in my abilities. I'm trusting my own instincts. I'm learning to value my opinions. I'm learning to speak up for myself. The choices I make align with my virtuous principles. From this moment forward, I am no longer seeking validation from others, and I'm learning more and more to trust my own judgment. I have decided to let go of fear and doubt. Or I've decided in this moment that I'm willing to learn to let go of fear and doubt. I'm opening myself up to my needs. I am becoming a person who can decide in a moment. I love the idea that power is within myself. From this moment forward, right after I'm done listening to this podcast, I would have started to create a powerful life. In this moment, I'm starting to take care of myself mentally and physically. I am recognizing my worth more and more and refusing to settle for anything less than what I deserve. Discovering my true passions and pursuing them with determination and enthusiasm is my new hobby. For every moment that my brain jumps to my past to make me regret my choices, to make me blame my past, I will have decided to accept myself for who I am now. I am loving myself unconditionally for each of those moments. Now, for all of these, I want you guys to pause, rewind, slow down, write it down, edit it, insert your own language. Start trusting yourself right now, one way or another. Like literally, all you have to do is start believing one of these sentences that you listen to. And how can it be that easy? Because you decided. And that's it. There's no need for any other reason. You are creating a powerful life because you have decided to do so. This future-based language is when we trust ourselves. That's when we take control of our lives. We become active participants in our own destiny. We stop second-guessing ourselves and instead focus on moving forward. We become empowered to create the life we want. I urge you to trust yourself. Believe in your abilities and your decisions. Recognize that you have the power to create the life you want, and it starts right now. Don't let your fears and doubt control you. And continue to keep coming back to trusting yourself and watch as your power grows. And it's definitely not about just this power. That is not the end game. It's about creating positivity, love, and harmony in the world with that power. I see this power in action every day in my clients I work with. I see them taking control of their lives, making choices that honor their values. And I know that you can do the same. And when you do, you'll find that you're not just changing your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. You are creating a world where women are strong, assertive, and compassionate all at the same time. And that to me is true power. As a Muslim woman, I believe that true power comes from within ourselves. So as I've mentioned, I believe the true power comes from within ourselves, from our ability to manifest our ideas into reality. Understanding that every decision comes from our ability to trust ourselves. And that ability depends on the fortification of our mind, our mental fitness, the strength and the positivity of our thoughts. With this, we have the power to create whatever we desire. It's not about waiting for the world to change. It's about generating change from within. When you trust yourself, you gain that power to change from within. You gain the power to manage your emotions rather than reacting to them. Trusting yourself means having the confidence in your ability to navigate your difficult emotions and situations instead of being reactive in them. This way, you can respond with intention and purpose. You can approach challenges with a sense of calm and clarity, knowing that you have the power to handle whatever it is in front of you. The ability to say no is another source of power that comes with trusting yourself. We have the freedom to decide what we are willing to do and what we are not. Clearly define your boundaries. Create them from positive emotions, not from feelings of anger, judgment, or resentment. And trust what you decide. Power is not about controlling the world around us. Control only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our power comes from the ability to control our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. This is where our power resides. I've come to appreciate that there is a center point which resides deep down in our core, and that is accessible to all of us. And by the divine decree of Allah, this life might take many twists and turns. Priorities will reshuffle, and circumstances will change. Our values will come into focus and go out of focus, and we will get pulled in all different directions. This is al-hayat ad-dunya, the nature of this world. If we continue to believe that our power source is somewhere outside in the world, it is easier to forget the essence of our existence, and this way it becomes easy to forget God. If our attention and focus is left unchecked, we will fall prey to the external sources of power, which is the demanding life and the worries and the responsibilities. This leads to an imbalance of a life's rhythm and a deep sense of discontentment. If we ground ourselves as the source of power, it is much easier to align ourselves with the divine. As you stand back and observe the unpredictability of life and the nature of this design, you will realize just how essential it is to find that inner center point, the point that keeps us balanced at our core, regardless of the chaos, the distractions, and the highs and lows around us. This is the center point of balance that keeps us aware and actively focused on prioritizing our spiritual and physical needs. It helps us stay vigilant, not falling into the black hole of just always working or constant social engagements or other worldly pursuits causing misalignment and robbing us our inner peace. So where do you begin to find this center point? How do you access this state of mind and being? What is the balance between our life's ambition, spiritual rituals, and health routines? I reflect deeply on these questions, and every time the answer is obvious. It starts with fortifying your connection with Allah through the acts of prayers, contemplation, reflection. When you function under the paradigm that there's an external source of power, you get pulled in a million different directions, and it becomes tough to keep up with all of the different parts of our lives. It severs the connection with the divine. It pulls apart on your spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental health. Now, I will remind you, the only external source of power is Allah. But He placed a part of it within you. And when you are able to locate that, when you are able to remind yourself of that, when you're able to practice power from a paradigm of inside out, that's when harmony and balance gets restored in your life. Because with your conscious mind, you can generate this power. You can spawn it into existence without any worldly or external factors. And all of this for me starts with taking a few moments each day to connect with my faith. Whether that means prayer, reflection, quiet contemplation, dua. All of this is so that I don't accidentally associate power to myself without its true source, that is Allah. But very importantly, the very next step is to nurture that power from within you by trusting yourself, trusting your decisions, having your back, not second guessing yourself. And this is what it might look like. When you make a decision to lose weight, you stick to it like your life depends on it. When you make a decision to make money and become financially independent, you stick to it at all costs. Or whether if you decide to create clean boundaries or you decide to be confident and assertive, you stick to your decision. You have the power already within you to make these decisions into reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you that power. He didn't give it to your father. He didn't give it to your brothers. He didn't give it to your husband. He gave it to you. This is the way to live the most grounded life. Always think of power as an energy within you, placed there by the divine and being projected outwards into the world. This is how you create a powerful life. And it all started today because you decided to do so. With that, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, grant us the strength to find power within ourselves, Help us to trust our inner selves and have the confidence in our abilities that you allowed us to have. Illuminate our path towards self-discovery and guide us towards the source of our one true power. Help us to let go of external labels and societal constructs. Enable us to approach challenges with a sense of calmness and clarity, knowing that we have the power to handle whatever lays ahead. May our hearts be filled with faith, hope, and courage as we have decided to keep the power that you gave us within us. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Please keep me in your du'as. I will talk to you guys next time.
If you're interested in getting coached by me, I'm offering a very affordable opportunity to do that with Wisdom Wednesdays. This is not a course, not a lecture. This is an opportunity for live coaching, real change with Islamic adab and etiquette. You do not need more information. You actually need a space to create change. At $19.99 a month, which is the price of takeout dinner, you as a Muslim woman will create confidence, intimacy, and connection without shame or fear of judgment, because your privacy is my highest priority. So join at www.islamiclifecoachschool.com, resources, Wisdom Wednesdays. I'll see you inside, inshallah.